Good evening, guys. How are you? The producers made a mistake. It is not talking boxing tonight. It is talking NFL. Sorry about that. Oops, oops. And yeah, he's already saying oops. So we're going to oops it out right here. And we're not going to worry about that. But we'll just try to make sure that that doesn't happen again. Now, listen here. We're here at talkinfight.com, Neil the Deal Show, and the NFL edition Wednesday evenings at 8 p.m. live. You got me, Neil the Deal. Yeah, it's really, and I'm in the house. And I'm telling you, the NFL on the weekend, guys, it was freezing cold here in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I watched obviously all four games, and we're going to discuss all four games pretty in depthly. But man, what a weekend of football! That was probably, guys, in a nutshell, I'm telling you, that was probably the best weekend of football I've seen in 20 years. All those four games, as we all know that we're watching, went right down to the wire, okay? And it was exciting. There was a lot of controversy involved. There was comebacks. There was lead changes and so it just went on and on and on. And I'm going to talk about it tonight here, talkinfight.com, the NFL edition with Neil the Deal. All right, so I just want to throw a couple shout outs quick. I want to thank everybody out there, all the Talking Fight fans, Neil the Deal Show fans, for all your support. It's actually growing really rapidly, and I really appreciate that sincerely from the bottom of my heart. The shares, the likes, the subscriptions, everything's every week it just gets better, better, and better. And hey, all I can do is thank you, the fans. I also want to thank my big buddy, all right, Patrick, and his team of haircutters over at Safari Barbershop again. Patrick, Mr. Siakam is definitely going to be coming over to the shop soon. There's a rumble on the street that he's got a little tweak in his ear about what we were talking about. And he will definitely come by somehow, some way, and say hi to the team, yourself, your children, your wife, any of your friends that want to meet him. He's a really, really sincere, honest humanitarian. So, Pascal, if you're out there, buddy, we love you, man. And Patrick and all the boys over there at Safari Barbershop love you too. So let's just keep it rolling. If you need a haircut, if you need a beard trim, if you need anything, if you need some lines put in the side of your head, if you want to have custom whatever, go see Patrick and the team down at Safari Barbershop there on Lakeshore here at Cawthron and Lakeshore in Mississauga. And those guys will take care of you on every level. And they're fantastic, most beautiful people. So God bless you guys. Thanks for your time. And we're going to move on here for the rest of the show. So, yep, it's been super cold. The weekend was off the chart. We're going to talk about the four games that were involved. Let's start it off. Uh, that weekend of ball was unbelievable. Honestly, that ball was the big ball. And like for me, I really was impressed by everybody who played. All the quarterbacks came out, showed up. They all played amazing, and we're going to go over it. And here we go. We're going to start it up with Cincinnati and Tennessee. Then we're going to move on to the San Fran Green Bay Packers game. We're going to go to the LA Tampa game, and then we're going to end it all off with, of course, my team, the Kansas City Chiefs. And if you were watching, well, Patty the Magician pulled it off. And we're not even 13 seconds, guys. Did you see that? We could spend a whole show on that situation with the Buffalo Bills against Kansas City Chiefs. And I'm just going to tell you in a nutshell, I feel bad for Buffalo. I mean, we deserve to win the game because we're the better team. What can I tell you? But Buffalo, man, and those guys, they played their hearts out. God bless them. I always like Buffalo. They're the underdog. I always like the underdogs, you know. So Buffalo played absolutely amazing, and I love that game. That game, I'm going to tell you right now, is definitely in the top five games for me all time. It's all time. If you rewind that game and watch that game, that is what real football is made of. And that's what I grew up on, and I really missed that kind of a game. And that it possibly could be the greatest game of all time. I mean, it's right in there. So I don't want to give it that much credit yet. I got a few more games that I'm thinking about, but man, it's right up there, that game. So if you didn't see the Kansas City Buffalo Bills game on the weekend, rewind that one. Watch it with your family, friends, whoever it is, because that was probably the best football game you're going to see. And all the games were good. Like I'm talking, they were all amazing. But that one game, the Chiefs and the Bills, man, wow, what a game. And all my buddies, all the big boys, everybody was completely blown away. Like I was completely blown away, especially when people were calling me going, "Ah, you lost. Oh, I see the Chiefs lost with 13 seconds." I said, "Nope, I got 13 seconds, and we have Patty Mahomes, the magician." And guess what happened? We all saw it. It's live. It's in stereo, IMAX, whatever you want to call it. It's there, and he did it. And man, that's why he's the best player in the NFL. So let's move on to the games. Cincinnati and Tennessee, we'll talk about them first. Well, Cincinnati took it down. That's why they're playing the Kansas City Chiefs this weekend in the AFC Championship game. It's going to be a hell of a game. But since he took down Tennessee, the number one seed Tennessee, and the thing that freaked me out was, and I'm being honest, Derrick Henry, who's been injured for probably 8 or 9 weeks, a very severe injury, all of a sudden materializes out of nowhere at the last second. It's not on the board. He's considered out, IR, finished. You understand? All of a sudden, the best player on their team shows up. All right. And I was kind of like, well, that changes the playing field completely. And I was a little worried about Cincinnati only because Henry was in the game. But I'll tell you, watch the game. They shut him down. Henry, he wasn't even a factor. I don't think he was 100%. That was the biggest problem. They tried to bring him in. They we're going to go over it, but he just wasn't the same. And the defense, the Cincinnati defense played so good, and Joe Burrow played so good, and they deserved to win the game. And it wasn't. It was last second, as we know. So let's go over a couple of stats here. Joe Burrow, Big Joe, I love him. I think he's one of the best up and coming quarterbacks in the league. Take him in your fantasy pools. He's a gem, and I really like him. Like I'm talking big time. 28 for 37, 348 yards. He didn't throw for a touchdown. He had one INT. But the thing that really brought them together was the kicker, as we know, McPherson, right? Evan McPherson, I believe his name is. Let's just make sure we got. Yeah, Evan McPherson, exactly. That guy single handedly had 4 field goals in that game, and he won that game. So, uh, they couldn't quite punch it in, so to speak. They kind of got there many, many, many times, but McPherson showed up when you really needed him, and that was the difference. So Joe had a great game. Mixon, which I told you, look out for Mixon. He could be the game changer in this one. He had 14 rushes for 54 yards. He also had 6 catches out of the backfield, out in the flat, and 6 catches for 51 yards. So he almost had 100 yards combined. So that really helped Cincinnati's cause. Chase, well, I don't even know what to tell you. We've talked about Chase. He's one of my favorite players in the league, probably the fastest player in the league as far as speed is concerned. I have never seen anybody other than Deion Sanders pull away from guys like that. These are really fast DBs, and this guy just blew right by him. Like it was like they were at a bus stop and he was the bus, and the bus was full. You know what I mean? Just kept going, express. But Chase, he was double teamed pretty much the whole game, and he blew them up. He blew them up big time. 5 receptions, 109 yards. That's a reception average of 21.8 yards per catch. So if you're not on the Chase wagon right by now, after I've been talking about him for what 3, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, I don't know, man. He is a serious cat, and every time he's got the ball, he's a threat to get a touchdown. Like he can turn nothing into a touchdown. So we had him. We got Higgins. Higgins was great in the game. Seven receptions for 96 yards, and Uzma was also good. He was 7 receptions for 71 yards. So Joe was moving the ball around. That was the big difference. Tennessee, their running game was basically shut down. Tannehill, 15 for 24, 220 yards, 1 TD, and this is the kicker, guys, 3 interceptions. Now, the 3 interceptions, that's why they lost the game. That's it. Simple stuff. You cannot give up interceptions, pick sixes, anything of this sort in magnitude games. It is the difference maker. And they did not have good luck with the turnover ratio in that game. So Tannehill with the 3 interceptions basically handed the game to Cincinnati, even though it was right to the wire. Foreman rushing for Tennessee which is funny because Derrick Henry's the big guy. Foreman, 4 rushes for 66 yards, which is nice. 4 rushes, 66 yards. That's a 16 and a half yard average per rush. Henry, of course, they shut him down. That was the problem. Cincy's defense is playing out of their minds. So 20 rushes for Henry, Derrick Henry, 62 yards. That's an average of 3 yards a carry. That's shutting that guy down large. So that was their big problem. The receivers did well. Brown, big time, 5 receptions, 142. That's a 28-yard average per catch. That's big time. Julio Jones, 6 for 62. Uh, in the last minute field goal with no time remaining, Evan McPherson brings it home for the first time in over 30 years. Cincinnati, I love it. I was like, right on. Finally, changing of the guard. I loved it. So, since he's in there, next game we're talking about San Fran versus the Pack. Wow. I mean, the Pack ranked number one. Aaron Rodgers with Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones. This is a big time team. I really, honestly, guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I took the Pack in the NFC. But in the game, well, I didn't. Obviously, we're going to go over that later. But I really thought the Pack would pull it off. But, they didn't. They got, the upset was in effect. Jimmy G for San Fran, 11 for 19, 131 yards. No TDs, one interception. Mitchell rushing out of the backfield there, 17 for 53. Debo Samuel, their big boy, 10 rushes for 39 yards. He wasn't a big factor. But then you go into the receptions. You got Kittle, tight end, one of the best in the league, 4 for 63. Then you got Debo again, three receptions for 44. So Debo's looking at 80 some odd yards, which is good. And Robbie Gould was obviously 2 for 2 and won the game, right? So their kicking game was on spec, and they definitely kicked ass in the end. So Rodgers, we'll just go over his stats. Good game. Rodgers played a great game, but man, they just couldn't do it when it was when they had to. He was 20 for 29, 225 yards, no TDs, no interceptions. That'll tell you what happened. Andrew Jones kind of shut out with the rushing, 12 rushes for 41 yards, and Dillon was 7 for 25. But then you go into the receptions for the Packers. Andrew Jones, 9 receptions, 129 yards. So those swing passes into the flat, those little hook and curls, stuff of that sort, the 5 yard, 10 yard passes. He just after the catch yards, they call it, right? Once he catches the ball, how many yards does he go after that? Was probably phenomenal to get that 9 catches for 129. And Adams, obviously, probably the best receiver in the league, in the top 3, no doubt about it. Receptions, 90 yards. And on the last play of the game, with no time left, Robbie Gould nails a 45-yarder, breaks down the Green Bay Packers at home, and wins the game. So that was a hell of a game. Back to back, right? I was just like, wow, this is amazing. So let's move on to the next one. Los Angeles Rams versus Tampa Bay Bucks. The score was 13-10 in that Packers game, so it was really close. Very low scoring game. LA versus Tampa. LA took it down 30-27. If you were watching that game oh my gosh, obviously Brady was down 20-3. We all know Tom Brady and his capabilities. He ended up bringing them all the way back, tying it up 27-27. I wanted to throw down some big money when it was 20-3. You know why? Because that's when you make the big ding. I did it in the Super Bowl when they were down to Atlanta, 35-1, $100 made me 3,500. All right. So you can always bet play and play. And I like that. Because if you know what's going to go down and you're play and play, then you can lay that bet and you can be confident that a guy like Brady's going to come back. Well, it went right down to the last 40 seconds. I guess the defense ran out of gas. They were gassed. You know what I mean? And LA ended up getting the field goal to win the game. The last 40 seconds, it was, I don't know, man. It's the only loss, guys, by the way, I had in my last, 12 or 13 NFL picks. So I think I was 12-0 or 11-0, 12-0, and then I was 12-1. But then we won another one, so we're 13-1. So 13-1 overall. I mean, I'm not perfect. Nobody is. But I'm happy with that. 13-1. I think you should be too, because that's going to pad your pockets with all kinds of Christmas cash, summer beer money, whatever you want. It's all for, it's all play money. Just have some fun with it. Don't get too wrapped up in it, and just have some fun with it. So Stafford, let's talk about Stafford for LA Rams. 28 for 38, 366 yards, 2 TDs, no interceptions. We had Akers out of the backfield. Now this is an interesting stat. And this, moving forward, I'm going to use that as part of my prediction. So Akers, all right, the main running back for the Rams was 24 carries for 48 yards. Yeah, I just said that. 24 carries for 48 yards. That's 2 yards per carry. They don't have a running game, obviously. And Jefferson, he had one run for 15 yards. So they're lacking there. They got a big problem there in LA with that, but they're making it up on the offense with the receivers. Obviously, we got the man who leads the league. We talked about a bunch of times, Cooper Kupp, 9 receptions, 183 yards, 1 TD, and that's at over a 20-yard average per catch. So he was dialed in as usual with Stafford. Stafford played a great game. I was really happy for him. Odell Beckham showed up, six receptions, 69 yards, and Higbee, the tight end, he was 4 receptions for 51. So last play, Brady. I never bet against Brady. I tried before. I lost every time. I bet with him, and I lose again. So I don't know what to tell you. He's probably, hopefully, going to hang it up. I think I've had enough of him. And great player, instant Hall of Famer, probably the best of all time, the GOAT, right? And maybe he's got to go out on a losing note. I don't know. I don't think that's going to sit well with him, but that's what we're talking about, right? So Brady Brady all around was 30 for 54. Ooh, 329 yards, 1 TD, one interception. Leonard Fournette out of the backfield from LSU was 13 rushes, 51 yards. I was really liking the way Fournette was playing that game. He's a big time player. He's had some injuries, and but he's came back in this game and he really played well. I really liked Fournette. Reception wise, he was 9 receptions for 56 yards out of the backfield. Great. Mike Evans was their big man because obviously Godwin was out. Antonio Brown lost his marbles, and Mike Evans was at eight catches for 119 yards, 1 TD. So I mean, Brady played a great game. That was a fantastic game, guys. Again, right down to the wire. Last play of the game, done. Like, how much better does it get? Then we move on to the final game we're going to talk about, which is the best game, the greatest game of all time. And yep, I have to tell you, guess who won the game? The Kansas City Chiefs. All right? And Patty Mahomes, Superboy, Superman, Kid Wonder, the Magician, whatever you want to call him, just watch that game and just enjoy because he's at the top of the heap. He's the best quarterback in the league. He was MVP 2 years ago. He won the Super Bowl. He came to the Super Bowl last year and lost. He was hurt last year. They had some injuries and it affected him in the Super Bowl. But they're going back to the bowl again, 3 times straight, and they're winning it this year. Put all your money on Kansas City because obviously I am. And that's what I'm telling you. They're on fire. They have been for many, many weeks. And they're just going to step on the gas now. They're cooking with hydrogen. Never mind propane. It's hydrogen, guys. They are amping it up huge now. And they got a great team, great plan, great coach. They got the experience. So I would not be putting any money against the Chiefs, no matter what. So I'm telling you, that Bills game, guys, best game I've ever seen in my entire life. Almost. It's right there, man, with the best of the best. Josh Allen played an absolute amazing game. The Buffalo Bills, I have to commend them as a team. They did not give up. Right down to 13 seconds, guys, you had the win. Like, that was amazing. The back and forth and the back and forth and the back and forth. You know what I mean? How that went. And these guys didn't give up, and that's what I like about that game. And somebody's got to win, and it was the Kansas City Chiefs. So we'll go over the stats here quick. Josh Allen, 27 for 37, 329 yards, 4 touchdowns. 4, count them. Rushing, Allen led the team in rushing as well. 11 rushes, 68 yards. Singletary, 10 rushes, 26 yards, which isn't really that impressive at all. But they had that receiver, Davis. Davis was on fire. I don't know what was in his cereal in the morning, whatever was in his Wheaties or whatever you want to call. whatever he had that day, that guy was lights out, absolutely phenomenal. 8 catches, 201 yards, and 4 TDs. So all 4 TDs that Josh Allen threw that day were to Mr. Davis. So that was an interesting thing right in itself, and he killed it. I was like, wow, this guy is over the top. All of a sudden, he just destroys us, right? Then we have Beasley, right? Beasley's a good man. Used to play for the Cowboys. 6 receptions, 60 yards. And then my man, who I believe is the reason why the Buffalo Bills lost the game. Sorry, but somebody has to. Well, we all know it's the coach. But Stephon Diggs, their best player. I don't know what's wrong with you, Steph. Maybe you're injured. I don't know what's going on. He had to be injured. You can be double teamed the whole game, but 3 receptions for 7 yards, that makes no sense to me. I don't get that. And he's not like that. So he's a game breaker, a game maker. He's a superstar. So what happened with Diggs, and that was a couple of weeks straight that Diggs he just didn't show up. I don't get it. So that was really confusing to me. So in the end, we're going to go over my man's stats, the big guy, Patty Mahomes, 33 for 44. Woo, woo, woo. 378 yards and 3 touchdowns. There you go. Not only that, but he led the team in rushing, which is interesting. Both quarterbacks led their team in rushing in the game. Combined, I believe it was over 800 yards or something combined offense. Like, this is just ridiculous stuff. 7 rushes, Patty Mahomes for 69 yards and a touchdown. You got to watch out for Patty, man. He scampers with the best of them. Edwards-Helaire, my buddy, number 25 right here. Edwards-Helaire, 7 rushes, 60 yards. And McKinnon, the guy who brought him into the situation while Helaire was injured. Now he's back. McKinnon, 10 rushes, 24 yards. Receptions, receiving, Kansas City, we all know what that's all about. We got the Reeker. Reeker was 11 catches for 150 yards and a touchdown for the T Hill. All right, so the Reeker was wreaking havoc. And I told you guys last week, the game maker and the game breaker will be T Hill, the Reeker. All right, he wreaks havoc on all defenses. You cannot contain him. And when he decides he's going to go down the sidelines and just turn on the jets, he could be faster. He could be faster than Chase. I'd like to see that in a 40-40, right? 40-yard dash. They got to be really close. So Travis Kelce had a great game. Obviously, he's the heart and soul of our team. 8 receptions, 96 yards, almost 100 yards. He's our go-to guy. He makes the wheels go, and Patty Mahomes will always look for him. He's his number one guy. McKinnon was 5 receptions for 54. So they brought it together. Hartman was in the game. Robinson, they're really coming full circle. Those guys. So what a game though, guys. If you're gonna really watch all of them, but that Bills Chiefs was over the top. So what are we left with? Here we go. We're left with the AFC Championship game. That's going to be the Cincinnati Bengals versus my Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are favored -7 as of today, and I'll tell you right now, lay your money, lay the points on the Chiefs. All right. Cincy's a great team. I got nothing against Cincy, but I just think the Chiefs in this spot, they're not going to they're going to step on the gas pedal. I keep telling you, they're going to absolutely floor it, and I don't think Cincy's going to have enough in the end. -7, I don't like the number. I never like 3s, 7s, 10s, 14s, but in this spot, I know it might go down to 6.5, which would be better at 6.5 because then you know what I mean. But I right today it's -7. I'm gonna lay the points -7 against the spread. I would also suggest you take Kansas City on the money line, hammer them down with a 50 spot or something like that. So, and I'm also going to take the under in this game, 54.5. I'll take the under. So I got the Chiefs -7 against the spread, money line Chiefs, and the under at 54.5. Next game we're doing is San Francisco versus the Rams. The Rams are favored by 3.5. That gives San Fran plus 3.5. I'm liking the way San Fran's playing. I'm telling you. San Fran, I love San Fran right now. They just really somehow they're on it. They're really on it. So I'm taking San Fran with the points, 3.5. I'll take the hook, the 0.5, and I'm gonna do it on the money line. All right, and against the spread. So San Fran on the money line and plus 3.5. Double down on that one. Those are my 5 bets for the week. All right. So best of luck to you guys. I want to thank you all for coming out. I want to thank all my friends. E-Bomb, thanks a lot for everything. Ivana, thank you very much for everything. The guys down there at Safari Barbershop, Patrick and the team, thank you very much. Pascal Siakam, if you're out there, you've been requested to come down and get a haircut. So if you need a haircut, lifetime haircuts, buddy, and the best ones you'll ever get. So thank you very much again. The likes, keep on liking. The shares, keep on sharing with all your friends and family. Subscribe, tell them to subscribe, and take both hands. All right, boom, boom. Notification bell, give it a boom. Let you know when I'm on. We're gonna see you again on Friday. We got our NHL edition, Neil the Deal show. I got some big news about the NHL. Playoffs are getting closer, and to end it all, 12-1, 13-1. Who's doing that? That's like 90% right against the spread in NFL and NHL. We're killing it over here, guys. So pay attention. I'll make you lots of ding dong. You'll have yourselves a great day. I definitely am. We'll see you on Friday. Thanks again for coming out. Peace out.